Alright, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. This is going to be the first video with actual gameplay in it. Although, to start with, I'm going to go over the Dwarf Therapist a little bit. This is a separate application. It reads the dwarves in and gives a much easier way of allocating skills, allocating tasks, saying what you can and cannot do, as well as just viewing the overall statistics of your dwarves. All of this information is available in the Dwarf Fortress itself. However, it's very, very both clumsy and clunky to do. So here I have the military tab open. This is grouped by squad. So here we have my basically legendary axe dwarf squad. If an invasion comes in and they need to be dealt with because they're not moving, I send these guys in. They go charging in. They've all got very nicely crafted steel armor. I believe about half of them at this point have steel weapons that are named. The other half have steel weapons that aren't yet named. But this is the skill I mentioned previously. It is a legendary +5, so 20 in Dwarf Therapist. This is the absolute highest that you can get. Basically, if any of these guys ever throw a tantrum, you're going to lose about half the fort. There's no way that anyone besides another dwarf in this squad is going to be able to deal with them, and even then it's a little bit iffy, and you're going to lose one of the two. Fighter, it's DF has a very, very strange skill sometimes. So Biter is basically, if you've been disarmed, both literally and figuratively, you can still bite. This is the skill in that. How good you are at dodging. For the most part, and I am going to be trying to do a proper danger ring. I'll go into that when I actually get around to building it, but I haven't done it, and I would like to see kind of how it's built. But for the most part, dodging isn't really a huge deal for these guys. I believe I'm the only civilization so far that has access to steel, besides other dwarves. So if anyone invades me, they're going to be doing it with probably copper. Copper is common, iron, occasionally leather, occasionally that sort of materials, and steel just carves right through them. Fighter, this is just kind of how good you are at fighting in general, I think. Kicking, striking is, I'm not entirely sure. Wrestling is basically you run up, you grab the target, and you just kind of throw them around. Marginally useful. Again, these guys are going to charge in and lob off heads, so it doesn't really apply that much. Armor user, this is how fast you are able to move, how adept you are at using your armor. And then shield use. I've really got to get an invasion to show just how incredibly tough these guys are. I had a dwarf grab an arrow mid-flight out of the air as a block. So that's sort of what happens when you get this high. Swimmer, this doesn't really apply. Crutch Walker in case you're injured, you actually lose a leg, or it's crippled somehow. This skill starts to go up. Ambusher is more for hunting than anything else. Archer, I'm not entirely sure what causes this skill to go up. Blowgunner, I don't use. Bowman, this is for actual, like a longbow, as opposed to Marksdorf, which is a crossbow. Strength, agility, toughness, endurance. This is all of the, I believe it was the first video where I showed the dwarf, kind of everything about this dwarf, thoughts, preferences, everything. This is those skills boiled down to a single number. I'm not sure how much these numbers actually affect things, but they do affect them to some extent. Then armor using skill, these guys are basically they're not going to have any trouble whatsoever. Teacher and student, basically how well they do in basically running a classroom. You get a couple of dwarves together, the most experienced is going to basically get up and instruct the class, and then the student skill is how well the other dwarves can gain skill from that. It's not really all that common until you get basically full-time military just training constantly that you're going to see these sort of numbers. And then down here, this is my Mace Dwarf squad. So again, steel armor, various maces. They're relatively new. I think they've only been around for 2, maybe 3 years. But they are another full-time military squad. If you notice, this first squad was kind of the first couple of dwarves I could find that had axe skill, so I threw them together and told them to start training. This mace squad was pretty much custom picked from non-critical dwarves with non-critical skills, so if one of them dies, yeah, it's a dead dwarf, but it's not going to end the fortress. Also, you should notice that most of the later squads are very heavily favored, and males are favored over females. It is entirely due to the way that dwarves reproduce. They use a spore method, so basically at some random time, a female dwarf just kind of pops up with a baby. The baby is brought with the female dwarf pretty much everywhere, so in the middle of the battle, you can kind of see where this goes. You suddenly have a female dwarf with a child in the middle of the battle fighting a goblin invasion, goblin siege. Things can go downhill very, very quickly. So, that's the only reason. There's nothing whatsoever aside from that between male and female dwarves. It just saves a bunch of issues later on. So then down here, actually this squad up here, named Paints, is my sort of combat-ready Marksdorf squad. The Oily Fathers is the kind of Marksdorf in training squad. I'll actually go over to DF and show how that works. And then the No squad is everyone else. And if you check in the labors, if you are using this Fortress save, I have the Alchemy skill, do sort by squad, sort by alchemy, and then anyone with the alchemy skill is what I would consider to be a easily replaceable dwarf. So they're not going to really have anything. You're going to lose the dwarf, but you're not really losing a critical skill, or if it is a critical skill, there's someone with a lot better skill already available. So let's go over to brewing. Scroll all the way up. None of my military has brewing. And then we have legendary +5, legendary +1. So basically your master, apprentice, and then backup in case something happens to these two. So there's always going to be someone able to brew at some amount of proficiency. This 16 is probably 4 or 5 times more efficient than the 5 and the 2 put together. And the 20 is probably 150 to 200% efficiency over the 16. So these guys are able to crank out a tremendous amount of alcohol very, very quickly. It's very well crafted. It's good to have these guys not get killed. Also over here I have removed all of their hauling skills, so they're either going to be sitting around doing nothing, or ideally working their craft. So then something like furnace operating, which is basically either taking an ore and melting it down, or recycling metal things. 2 legendary +5s, 3 legendaries. So realistically, even though this guy has a high value skill, I've got enough of them that I can realistically lose this guy over here. So he has the alchemy skill, indicating that he is a potential replacement. So that's kind of how to read the alchemy skill, and how I've picked out important dwarves that can be sort of easily replaced. In theory, I would like to have anyone, basically everyone at some point is going to get armor. It's not going to be steel, it's probably just going to be like a high quality copper armor, which is a lot better than nothing. You can actually take what would probably lose you an arm or a leg, would turn into a bruise. So if you go outside, get caught in an ambush, at least you've got a chance, and it also gives my armor smith a chance to get more skill. Except he's already at 20, so it'll get my replacement guy some training. General idea for dwarves is master, apprentice, and then 2 replacements, just kind of to have them available. A lot of these dwarves are getting a little on the older side, so if they do die off, or rather when they do die off, you don't want to have to start from nothing, or start from 1 or 2, as this does take several years to get enough skill running. So anyway, that's Dwarf Therapist. If you do have any questions about it, just kind of mention it in the comments or whatever. Also, what I probably should have mentioned in the first episode, and I will be sure to mention it in the comments, if there's anything in particular that you would like me to see, or would like me to try to cover, just leave a comment saying, hey, can you cover, or can you show this part again, and I will do my best. But again, do keep in mind that if you do that, it's going to be several days before that video actually comes out. I can realistically only upload about one 30-minute video every night, so yeah, nothing I can really do about that. So anyway, let's go ahead and unpause this finally. Also, lower right-hand side, this is the happiness meter. Red is bad, so no one about to go on a murdering spree, no one just getting really cranky. The white is the break-even point, so all in all, their life is just kind of, not bad. I believe the yellow is a 0 point, so they really are looking for something to make them happy, but they're not going to be throwing a tantrum or anything like that. 54, these guys have been, life's been good. Had a chat with friends, had a nice meal in a nice dining room, something like that. 61 of the even better, and then 88, this is really, really good. Basically, a little under half my fortress is just, they love life. So, I mean, you could probably throw a giant badger in the dining room and have it kill half the fortress, and these guys would be probably not all that upset. It's dwarf mentality. It's very, very strange. So anyway, first things first, let's make sure there's nothing on the map that's about to kill us. Over upper left-hand side, the red C is combat. If there's any combat whatsoever, that's going to pop up. The green H is hunting. If there's hunting going on, this will pop up saying, don't worry too much about this combat, it's probably someone hunting for food. The blue S is sparring. This will pop up saying, okay, hey, we've got some guys training, which is a good thing. So, to pull up the what's on the map, press U for units list. Here's the citizens list, pets and livestock, which I need to train desperately. Others. This is anything that's on the map that isn't one of your dwarves, or basically a pet or a livestock. Anything wild, anything in a cage that's brought by a merchant. Merchants count as this. Invaders, and then the dead and missing list. Basically a full history of anything that's tried to come in and kill your dwarves and fail miserably, or also anything that was butchered for meat will be tossed into this list. So some of these are actually, when I revealed the entire map, this list gets populated by everything on the map, so most of the time some of these wouldn't be actually seen on this list. Magma Man, for example, I know is pretty deep underground and not actually a threat. So here we've got a bunch of merchants. And then caged prisoners. These are anyone who would actually invade with intent to take all your stuff, sort of deal. We've got some trolls, we've got some spearmen, and I believe right before these 2 to 3 weeks before the save for this actually happened, I had an invasion hit. I think it was 40 to 50 strong goblin invasion, so I get to actually deal with the leftovers of said invasion with my military. Okay, so space to unpause and watch the FPS plummet. So press R to go to the reports. Again, same as the upper left-hand side, red R, actual combat, green is hunting, and blue is sparring. and sort of due to the Dwarf Fortress body modeling, the combat can get, I don't really want to say gruesome, but very, very detailed. So let's go ahead and look at the sparring. So this is the militia captain. Actually, let's look at this guy. This is the Baron, so this is one of the legendary axe dwarves that I've got roaming around. So this is kind of counter strikes, and like major large hits would be in red, actual combat sort of things. This light blue is sparring. So again, procedurally generated flavor text ends up with very odd things. So this line here, the Baron hacks at the axe ward in the right lower leg with his axe, lightly tapping the target. So, I mean, this is Dwarven sparring. You've got fully combat capable weapons, and they're just lightly tapping each other with them. So all of the axe squad has steel armor, so you don't accidentally tap your target and lob off a leg. That would be very, very bad. So then this is more sparring, counter strikes, strikes. So then basically they've been sparring, and then the militia commander charges. So just kind of to break up the monotony of strike, counter strike ad infinitum. One of them just charges at the other one. This would be like a wrestling or a grappling type attack. So then the collides with and is knocked over. Basically, you just tackle them to the ground. So that's kind of the sparring combat. So the FPS is down to 34. That looks about stable. So upper right hand corner, the idlers is the number of dwarves just standing around not doing anything. So let's go ahead and do something about that. Bring up DF hack. Let me drag this over. So LS will just give you a list of everything that you currently have installed. And it is, in fact, a very large list. So anyway, I do actually know a lot of the sort of important ones. And what I'm looking for is the strip caged. This can actually be done in-game with commands, but it's risky because if you miss one or you do it incorrectly, you end up with a fully armed and operational enemy suddenly loose in your fortress, past all the security measures, and you've got to round up your military and go after him. Meanwhile, they're wreaking havoc in the middle of the fortress, killing all your dwarves that aren't really prepared for military action. So I just go ahead and use the DF hack one. So it is strip caged weapons, and apparently I've already done this. So what that would do is anything that's in a cage with a weapon, send a dwarf up, grab the weapon out of the creature's hands, and it's safely de-weaponed. So let's go back over to this, go down here. So let's give the archer squad Now, this is the training squad, so anyone who's either new to a Marksdorf sort of profession, or just needs a little bit of training to bring them up to the military standard. And what qualifies for military standard really depends. I've got mine set at a skill of 7 or 8, and sort of depending on demand, 7 or 8, and you move over to the full squad. So the full squad is patrolling over here, and if you go to capital N for points, routes, and notes, again, I probably should have mentioned this, but it lets you pull or place little notes, basically a short 40, 50 character long note on the tile. So this is the Tower 2 that I have designated. I do have a lot of the levers and drawbridge gate things labeled. So, 1, I can find them, and 2, if anyone else is playing this map, just go look for a something along the lines of a main gate, and then go hunting for a main gate lever. If it's a main gate, it's probably going to be important. It's probably going to be in the main dining room, where it can be easily accessed. And that'll let you know the important levers so that you don't have to go guessing. So let's go to routes, press R, and this actually took me quite a while to figure out. A lot of this is the just interface isn't all that intuitive, and sometimes the selection doesn't really properly appear to be selected. So this is the door guard tower patrol route. Go to edit waypoints, and this is exactly what I mean. So right now we're editing the waypoints. And if we wanted to, we could remove them, but I'm not going to, as it's a little bit, oh, you know what, I'm going to go and remove these anyway. So, D to delete the waypoint. So then, you have the blank patrol route, so add waypoint. So, just find a waypoint location, press enter. Add waypoint. So this will draw it'll try to draw a straight line as best it can between the 2 points. And right now the dwarves would go to here, go to this point, stop for a second, look around. Having a lot of waypoints, or not really a lot, but having several waypoints will also allow them to, whenever they stop, they'll say, okay, do I have ammunition for my crossbow? If I don't, I'm going to go and grab some and then return to my patrol. So they would just patrol along this wall, which is a fortification, but we want them to be a little bit better at patrolling, so let's add this waypoint. Now, if you have I did actually lose, I believe, 2 dwarves to this bug. Well, it's not really a bug, but it's a quirk of sorts. When you tell a military dwarf to go to a location, they will not. Military squads can be up to 10, between 1 and 10 dwarves. So they will not go to the exact tile that you tell them to go to. What they will do is they will go to a tile within, I think it's either 3 or 4 of the designated tiles. So they'll pull together, but they're not shoulder to shoulder. Consequently, patrol routes are the same thing, or very, very similar mechanic. They won't necessarily go to this tile here. They might patrol over to here and consider, okay, that's close enough. So down here, if you're trying to install a roof or something, you need a ladder or a staircase. So you place an upstairs here so that they can go up to the next level. That would place them right here, which would qualify them for being, or rather fulfilling this. Actually, it would be a lot better if I did it over here. Place an upstairs here. That would qualify them fulfilling this waypoint. The only problem is they're now outside of the safety of the fortification, so in the middle of an ambush or a siege, they'll come up these stairs, which leads to the main fortress, out here, through all the traps, out through here, and at this point you're pretty much out of the archers don't need to be out here. The axe dwarves would be fine dealing with whatever's out here, but not archers. They're very lightly armored. So the I don't really want to call them an idiot, but the unfortunate axe dwarf then comes out here, out through the ambush, past all the traps, off the main gate, up here, and then they tick off the, okay, I've successfully patrolled here, where's my next waypoint? They step down, and back through the ambush, back through all the traps, back up here, and at this point they're already dead 2 or 3 times over. So, it is something to keep in mind. You don't want to have random stairs next to your waypoints. You want to have your waypoints isolated from areas that you do not want your dwarves to go to. There is not, at least to my knowledge, there is not an issue going across sea levels. So if you order your military dwarves to a location, and there's an upper and a lower level, they're all going to go to if you order them to the upper level, they're all going to go to the upper level, although they will spread out. If you order them to the lower, again, they all go to the lower level, although they may, or they will spread out a little bit. Okay. So that was actually the, sort of the military overview, and a little bit of Dwarf Therapist. And I didn't actually end up unpausing all that as I hit the 33-minute mark. So I'm going to go ahead and cut here. Next video will hopefully be a little bit more action and a little bit less of the pause screen. So until next time, stay safe and keep your doors drunk.